Welcome to Sonic Talk, where we talk about Sonic, because it's Sonic Talk, where we talk about Sonic. We've got a fun-filled, we got a show today. First up, we talk about the recently released Sonic Dash. That is, we will as soon as you spend 5 rings.
Ah! Meanwhile, over in Archie Land, a wild thrash appears. Go Knuckles! Knuckles uses Mega Punch. It's not very effective. Thrash uses Teleport. The wild thrash has fled.
Finally, we talk about the skeletons in our closet, the deep, dark, twisted side of the Sonic fandom, which GX and Jason Berry are quite familiar with. No, I'm not talking about GX's private Sonic/Rainbow Dash fanfics, nor am I talking about Jason Berry's secret love for Princess Sally. I'm talking about our guilty pleasures of Sonic games. What critically panned piece of shit that we actually like.
Pardon me, it was Fluttershy and it was Homestuck. And it was too saucy for you.
Yes, it was quite saucy, and I rather enjoyed it.
All this and some other stuff, I guess, on this week's Sonic Talk. Welcome to episode 18 of Sonic Talk. Today we'll be, of course, like I said, talking about Sonic Dash, what's been going on with the comics, and our own little guilty pleasures, what Sonic games are crap that we actually kind of enjoy.
You know, Sonic-y stuff.
Yep, but I don't think anybody's going to have Sonic 06 on the list. First up...
say this.
Right. First up, what we've been playing. This is actually take 2. We had this conversation before, but my Skype recorder wasn't.
So we already know what everyone's going to say because we're psychics and we've seen the future.
That's not true, because between the interim, I have played another game.
Oh, god damn it!
Yep, we've all played the Harmonite demo, which is a very enjoyable little game from Game Freak, which is coming out at the end of the month.
Yes.
By the way, he's
Shigs.
Quite easy. By the way, he's Shigs, he's Knuckles, and I'm GX. We're hosts, and we like to introduce ourselves, or at least I do.
Yeah, I did on the original take, but that didn't cut. So, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, the original take was stupid anyway. We didn't like it.
Working with amateurs here.
I know, like GX. God damn it.
Anywho, so yeah, Harmonites. That's by Game Freak. It adds a little bit of a Bit Trip Runner vibe and a Space Channel 5 vibe all in one. It's very cute. Actually difficult in the later levels as far as if you're trying to get all the little notes and scoring as well as possible. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Just really looking at the little clips that they show whenever you beat the boss of the thing, I'm guessing that they're going to like mix up what the actual actions are as you go through.
Yeah, it looks like that. That's
So
good. At least different types of music, rhythm game genres.
I excite because I will buy all quirky rhythm games. Quirky games are my joy in life.
And I also rather enjoy them quite a bit.
I also support all Game Freak games that are not Pokemon. And this is coming from someone who freaking loves Pokemon.
Yeah, but there is some Pokemon in the game.
But it's not a Pokemon game.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just saying.
No, it's just by the same guys who do Pokemon, so of course there's going to be some references here and there.
For God's sakes, let the guys do something different. They brought us Drill Dozer.
Right. There was something Sega-related I forgot to mention that I did play. I tried out the... what the heck is that thing called? The Project Diva F demo from Japan.
Oh, that's on a thing?
Yeah, it's one of those Hasane Miku games. It was a little demo of that. Not in the American US store, but in our Japanese PS3 store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you like rhythm games like that kind of stuff or electronica music, you might like that. I don't really see the appeal that much for Hasane and Miko. I've tried because it's a Sega game, so I've really tried, but it doesn't really appeal that to me.
It's
That's
the
that-
girl with the
it's
blue
the
hair.
Vocaloid stuff with the girl with the green hair.
Oh God,
Oh, whatever.
I hate
It's
music.
the blue-green hair, really.
What
I have zero interest. It's like whenever you see that news post come up that said Sega wants to know if you're interested in having us bring. It's like, no, I don't know Vocaloid music. Get real people who actually sing. I don't care how wonderful your software is that you can emulate the human voice. I want the human voice.
Otherwise, it comes off a little bit creepy. I find her a bit creepy myself. Kind of like she reminds me of Sharon Apple from the anime Macross Plus. Have anyone seen that?
I've heard of.
It's
I'm
the
not
same
that
kind of
old.
thing where it's a virtual idol who's a hologram whose voice was originally done with this other woman who's her director now, and she becomes like an advanced AI and takes control. It's,
wow.
So
And
this was like sci-fi like 20 years ago. That's now kind of a reality.
So Macross predicted the future. That is creepy.
Yeah, I find the Sonic Muko a little creepy.
And for all you ignorant Americans who
I
don't know what
tried.
Macross is, it's
I
also
couldn't
called Robotech.
Yeah, Macwall. Yeah, it is kind of a sequel to Robotech as far as.
No.
But
Robotech
it's
was the
not
American
directly-
name for
It's
Macross.
not directly Robotech. Yeah, it's if you think of the Macross saga from Robotech. Anyway, we're not going to mention Tomb Raider now. We already did that before, and
Come
both-
on.
we both
That's
liked
the
it.
only game I've played a
full of
lot.
we both
Chicks,
liked it. It's full of
chicks,
action,
don't you
except
want
it's a little bit Uncharted.
Shigs, don't you want to protect her?
Well, you kind of do when you see her gruesomely die if she gets killed. I mean, have any of you seen the Conan O'Brien's play of Tomb Raider? His little review.
No, I didn't know he did that.
Ew.
Oh my god, it's hilarious! Every time he has her sliding down the little waterfall, he keeps getting her stabbed through the head.
Ah.
And it's all gruesome. He's like, no, it's wrong. So he gives it back to his video game like guy hosted. He keeps that same thing keeps happening where her head gets stabbed right through. And she dies in some pretty gruesome ways in this.
Anyway, it is a fun game. The cryptic
Yes,
scenes
it-
are better than the Uncharted cryptic scenes, especially the chase scene in the beginning compared to the chase scenes in Uncharted 3.
It feels like you have more control over those areas.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot of that God of War. What do they call that? Quick time play feel to it.
I did
But-
not like the
It has
chase
those
scenes in
moments.
Uncharted 3,
It does feel
but
like it's-
they're fun in this.
Here's the
Like-
true testament, though. Are they better than the Crash Bandicoot chase scenes?
No, nothing beats the Crash Bandicoot chase scenes, man.
That is the only correct answer. Thank you.
Except for the Sonic Adventure chase scenes, of course.
No, you're wrong.
The control, man, and you try to go for the rings, and you end up going to the left, and the rings end up on the right. You go to the right, the rings end up on the left. Constantly.
Why, it's like the rings are everywhere.
Yeah, but you're still getting chased by a fucking killer whale, so there's that.
Or a giant
Or
avalanche.
a giant gun truck, yeah.
Yeah, or gun.
Or a giant gun truck with fucking chainsaws, man.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
in the world of somewhere else,
Or a
someone
gun
is
truck
playing
and an
games.
Stop
avalanche.
trying to move
and a
us on,
killer-
GX.
No, a gun truck driven by a killer whale in the middle of an avalanche.
Oh,
There-
God, we gotta do that. Chet, I know you're listening to this. Draw that. Draw it, and I'll give you money. Okay, wait, let's go on now.
Speaking of Sonic stuff, we got Sonic Dash, which just came out on iOS systems. And
Oh my gosh, on a Sonic podcast?
I think it's fun. Everybody else thinks it sucks.
I don't think it sucks. I think the microtransactions are a lot worse.
Yes, the
than
microtransactions are stupid.
And we paid for this game, and it's more like a free-to-play game where they're constantly shoving microtransactions in your face, including a ring doubler, which is twice the amount it was in Sonic Jump.
Give us money! Give us money now!
Ignoring that, I have two issues. First is, at some point it just turns into luck of what you can and can't see because they don't differentiate it very well. I feel like there's some point that they could either maybe do some sort of colored glow to indicate what you should do or what's coming up, or at least warn you ahead of time. And then the other issue is just that I think it's structurally just too simple.
Yeah.
It's kind of supposed to be
$3.
simple. It is iOS. It is like a
The thing is, though, even Sonic Jump had actual design to it. This is just randomly throwing crap at you.
Yeah, but isn't that pretty much what every endless runner is?
That doesn't... Are you saying that justifies?
I'm just saying that's inherent to the genre. And if you don't like this and you don't like
here's the thing,
endless running games.
Sonic Jump had two parts to it. First, it did have the endless mode, but it also had an actual level mode too, where they arrange things. And I mean, I'm not a fan of endless runners very much.
There we go.
But I love stuff like Runner 2, Legend of the Rhythm Alien.
Yeah, that's not an endless runner.
I know. It actually
it's not a completely different level.
I would have been much happier if there were parts of this game where I could just go through missions and have an end to them and have actual stage design rather than, hey, see how long luck holds out until we give you something you clearly can't handle.
I see what you're talking about, because Sonic Jump, it has level-by-level progression, but it also has an arcade mode where it's endless, where this, it's just an arcade mode that's endless.
Yeah, but I kind of like that about this game. It's like I haven't gotten to the later parts of the game, because I usually die after about 5 minutes, where it gets impossible, apparently. But to me, it's just a simple $3 endless special stage.
You like that there's fewer choices.
No, I don't like that there's fewer choices.
Because that's what I'm saying. My issue is that there are fewer choices.
I guess enjoy the gameplay itself.
I do enjoy the basic gameplay, as he said. It's just all the microtransactions they throw at you, and then they tempt you with the way the red rings are in this game, where you can get Amy or Knuckles or Tails if you collect so many red rings, which takes forever and is near impossible.
If they were to make a...
Or you could just pay $30 and there you go, I mean, it's a little insane on that. And they're constantly advertising the DLC on it.
If they were to make a game like Sonic the Hedgehog in the vein of Bit Trip Runner, I would give them lots and lots of money. But for a game like this, I'd give them $3, and I'm fine with that.
Well, in this case, it was $2, so...
$2. Wasn't Sonic Jump $3?
No, it was $2 too.
Okay, so they're both... So yeah, $2. I mean, that's fine with me. I'm not going to give them $5 for Knuckles.
I was hoping more of a 2D Sonic endless runner in the vein of maybe...
Oh, that's what I was expecting.
Rayman Jungle Run, although that's level by level too. But Rayman Jungle Run is still the best platformer, I think, on iOS.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to some extent.
Yay, he agrees.
Alrighty, so we agree to disagree about Sonic Dash. Some things we like about it, some things we absolutely hate.
But in the end, none of us have But in the end, I don't think any of us have a strong, positive opinion of it.
No, we think the game's okay, and I don't think any of us love it.
It's the best thing ever made! Shut up! Shut your face!
Yeah, I think I liked Sonic Jump better myself. All right.
I didn't really care for that one either, honestly.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice...
Stop trying to segue us, EX.
Yeah, speaking of the superheroes, on to Comic Talk, where we've got 2 epics that just wrapped up that we could discuss. What do you want to discuss first, Endangered Species or the Chaotix Quest?
Well, I don't know.
Main series first, business before pleasure.
All right, there you go. We all know how Ken Pender's the lawsuit thing going on affected this. Although he says he didn't have any direct involvement, it's just Archie's choice not to use his characters. But I don't want to go into that too heavily. I mean, we've talked that to death from the last few episodes.
And plus, I will be reviewing this entire arc on Sonic Stadium, and I will be using that as a soapbox for that bullshit. So
yeah. And
plus, I mean, I think we're all enthralled by his magical floating head.
I think Ian Flynn did the best job he could with that story, but it was obviously what it was originally going to be is not what it ended up being at all.
And it really, 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 really saddens me to no end as a huge fan of the Knuckles, the Kid in a Comic Book series.
Especially when it came out to 246, and it was just, here's Sonic fighting Krudzu, here's your little distraction, here's Shard, look at the shiny keys. And then
though I will say that
less than a
Knuckles...
third of Knuckles chasing Thrash. Less than a third of the comic is that.
Knuckles versus Thrash was pretty neat.
Yeah, except for that issue, all they did was chase each other.
Are you talking about the one where they were going from place to place?
Yeah, 246. All they did was go to place to place. I would have liked them to stop and focus, like have a dialogue and, to kind of give it a little bit more of a conclusion. I mean, all we got was him stopping and seeing this elderly woman who's one of Thrash's, people.
Species.
Yeah, Thrash's species. And
let's
find
stop
out a little
and
bit about
briefly
what
look
her
at the
story
old
is.
woman.
But no, he kept going, and then somehow, once they got back to the Angel Island, the ring didn't go any further.
I gotta be frank, guys. The problem is at this point, I'm checked out. I enjoyed the fact that I got a comic and that I got to read it, but at this point, I'm just kind of checked out until Mega Man starts. So you can be mad all you want, but
I don't like you.
Yeah, I don't
kind of understand how you
I'm...
feel, because the last year of the comic is just Sonic, Tails, and Amy chasing Dr. Eggman, and they get sidetracked with a little adventure every single issue.
It's not even just that. It's just I'm waiting for the Mega Man stuff. I want the Mega Man stuff. I want that to happen. I want it to be a thing, and I want during that time for them to finally resolve whatever the frack that's going on between him and Captain Mustache, and just whatever. Let's just
I
get
just can't wait
to
to
the
see
part.
Robotnik.
When are they
going
to get to the fireworks factory?
They gotta get to the fireworks factory. As far as Chaotix Quest, I ended up loving that one. That was one of my favorite arcs in a long time. The whole thing with Ken Penders barely affected it at all, except we didn't get to see Robbo the Hedge, but we got his Merry Men, the Mercy and Freedom
2
Fighters,
out of 10 stars.
And they were a really enjoyable little lot. And you've heard us talk about those guys on the show as well. And the only negative is I felt like the second half could have been almost segmented from the first half, because they felt like almost like two separate stories. I mean, that's good for pacing, but then, like I said, they almost felt like you could start on the third issue of the arc and still follow it really easily.
I'm just going to put this in right away. Any piece of media that shows someone picking up and swinging a tank as a weapon gets my vote of approval.
Yeah, you do not.
So you must love the Hulk then.
You do not tick off Mighty. Well, you know what? It's especially true when considering the size of Mighty compared to the size of the tank. I mean, there's pretty much a physical impossibility there, but of course this is magic we're talking about because of
Mogul.
Mammoth Mogul. Ian's a little retcon on how Mighty is so strong, which kind of makes sense.
I think the interesting thing that goes on here, though, is even though it's just this very big heartfelt scene between Mighty and his sister, and them coming back together and them like finally realizing each other, the two people who actually steal the issues are definitely Ray and
the rabbit.
Bunny's uncle.
Yeah,
they do a fantastic job characterizing him.
Yeah, I love that guy.
He is the most grayish villain in all of the Sonic comics.
He's not really a villain. That's the one thing I love about the whole the Dark Egg Legion on Oil Ocean versus the Sandblasters. The Sandblasters are technically freedom fighters, but they're total a-holes. They're just absolute scum. And on the other end, they don't want to be on Robotnik's side, but they have to survive. And they're basically good people.
And really, there's pretty much the Sandblasters that force them into that situation anyway, because they're douchebags.
Kind of too.
Oh, you used to be robot things. We don't like you. We're gonna enslave you now and treat you like crap.
What's funny is a lot of people on the Sonic forums, like Bumble King or Sonic Stadium, are kind of critical about Ray's speech turning what's her name, Matilda, around, but I think it actually makes sense, especially when you're looking at the pages and she's looking back and reflecting on what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw this out.
I thought it was a wonderful little speech, too. It was very heartwarming.
GX, throw it out.
I'm just going to throw this out here. We're still reading the comic about the video game Hedgehog that has a series that's been around for, 15 years? The comic
20
has?
years.
20 years.
20 years this year.
Has been 20 years?
Yep.
I think at some point take what's going on with a grain of salt. Just be glad what's good is good, because so few series have lasted that long and been at least that good up to this point. So,
oh yeah, especially when you have a series that got so bad, like the Sonic comics did during the Carl Boulders Ken Penders
10
thing.
years ago, it was.
Let's look even before that. I will not defend them, but I mean, looking even prior to their span.
Yeah, I mean, when it began, it was obviously there was just going to be a kids comic with a lot of corny jokes and what have you, and I don't think they expected it to last more than a year or two.
Definitely, I mean, no video game comic really has.
I mean, it's lasted well past like the Sonic's worst times, like during the Saturn era or during Sonic 06 and whatnot, when people just didn't really think much of Sonic anymore for a while, except for their little kid fan base.
I'm just saying, if you are so utterly impassioned against it, then you're probably missing the point.
So how do we get to this anyway? Who's impassioned against it? I mean, I know lots of Sonic fans are, but...
People on the internet are impassioned against something.
Yeah.
Newsflash! People on internet don't like something.
But and to give the Sonic comics some context as far as to how long they've lasted, the only licensed comic that's lasted longer is Conan the Barbarian at 275 issues, and Sonic the Comic will be hitting that in a little over 2 years.
Well, if you count every single other Sonic spin-off comic, you're going well over 400 issues.
Well, yeah, but yes, in terms of constant of continuation of the series, like, you know, how many years?
Yeah, I mean, you've had Sonic X, you had Sonic Universe, you've had all those miniseries, the Knuckles and what have you. And
we're coming for you, Conan.
Yeah, another compliment too. I mean, you can have a successful comic that doesn't even have Sonic in it. It's just about his friends or what have you.
Yeah, so like
still
Sonic
be a
Universe.
blockbuster.
It's hitting 50 issues now.
Yep, next week is issue 50 with Metal Knuckles versus Shard. I'm looking forward to that one. All right.
Oh, speaking of Shard, I really liked him in the Sonic, and I really liked his appearance in the Sonic 240.
Oh God, they needed him in there so bad. 246.
Yeah, I'm very bad talking about. I'm very bad when it comes.
I mean, obviously
suck
Ian
at
put him in
analyzing
there to
stories.
help save that story because it was just there was just
fly.
nothing left of them, but you know them fighting.
It was just the Kruzu. It was just the Kruzu plant, you know, fighting them over and over again.
Oh my God, it could have been wrapped up in 2
It was
issues.
really refreshing.
Yeah, so I was really happy to have him back, especially outlining it's a secret to everyone. Little Legend of Zelda riff there. All right, that's I guess it for comic talk right now. I'm going to take a little break, and then we'll be back in just a moment. And we're back. And anyway, like we were discussing on break, we wanted to pick out which Sonic guilty pleasures.
What pieces of shit do we like?
Yeah, I think I'm the winner here, but we'll go first with Alex.
You mean Knuckles 87, don't you?
You can call yourself that. I don't care.
Anyway, Sonic Heroes. I have gotten into so many arguments over this game, especially with a certain man named Ben on the Segabits staff, and he loathed this game, and I could never understand why. Because it's like, how could you hate this game? I mean,
I could understand why.
Hey, my thing. I mean, it can move very fast. It looks kind of similar to the classic games. It's one style of gameplay. Now, all these years later, I completely understand why. I mean, for one thing, half of the game is slow as half the game is really fast, half the game is slow as shit. And there's also those annoying battles with where you have to fight the robots with life bars and stuff, and that was such a horrible idea. But
And it
regardless, this
lived
is why
for
I like
so long.
Yes, I know. I mean, they did that thing in freaking Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, yeah, okay, but they did lots of bad things in Sonic 2006. But anyway, Sonic Heroes. But in the end, I still really liked it because half the game, that game could move as fast as F-Zero. It could be a really fast game when it wanted to be.
Well, let's not go into hyperbole here. F-Zero was freaking F-Zero.
Yeah. But still, this game was really fast. And it was also kind of the first time since like Sonic and Knuckles that we had a singular form of gameplay. And plus, it also brought back the Chaotix, which were characters that I was begging Sonic Team to bring back for years because I was a stupid Sonic fan.
That's one of its big positives is yet you have like 4 different teams that all basically play the same, but have their own strengths and weaknesses. I mean, Sonic's team is basically all around as far as difficulty. Team Dark is a bit harder. Chaotix is kind of, I don't know. It's really in the middle. And Team Rose is, of course, the easiest way to finish the game.
Chaotix is weird, just like the team.
Yeah, the best thing I could say about it is there was times where the game design that they were trying to get through actually got through. And
yeah, it can work really well at times.
I think especially Seaside Hill is actually, if you put that as a demo, it's actually pretty enjoyable, Seaside Hill.
I loved Seaside Hill back in the day.
I'm going to say 3 nice things about it. First, the level motifs were very good. Them going back to the classic style and not necessarily, hey, we're in the city, hey, we're in the places. They actually took you to places. And I freaking love the Future City level. That is easily one of my most favorite Sonic motifs. Second, I thought the graphics, aside from the characters, because the characters looked like, yes, I thought the stages look really good. I really like the stages, again. And finally, I like the stage music. Ignoring the character themes, except for Follow Me, the Team Rose theme, which is awesome.
I actually don't think I've ever really bothered to listen to that.
You know what? I'll put it at the end of the show.
Oh, God damn it.
Basically, all the actual level music fits with the levels, which is something that they didn't necessarily do for Sonic Adventure 2. They fit it with the characters, but they didn't really fit it with the levels, and it kind of bothered me a bit. But I
didn't feel that way, but okay.
I like the soundtrack of Sonic Heroes ignoring the dumb parts.
Main theme. The main theme is pretty awful.
Now, what I really hated about Sonic Heroes was the
buying your way.
Yeah.
What I really hate about Sonic Heroes was the plot. Back then, I really cared about plot in Sonic games, and plot in this thing was god-awful bad.
It's not only the plot, it's the writing and the dialogue.
Oh, God.
In every scene.
Let's show them the power of teamwork! And that's like a My Little Pony line right there. GXX when you yell.
I wanted to kill Charmy.
More respectable than that.
There you go.
I don't know anyone who didn't.
It was the worst.
Still doesn't.
It was probably the worst written Sonic game ever.
Yeah, because at least Sonic Heroes, at least Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 had its moments. Anyway, this is to talk good things about the game. So,
although the dialogue and writing in the game I'm choosing was pretty bad as well.
what I really liked about Sonic Heroes, I really liked half the levels. The fast Sonic-focused levels where you just ran, you hit enemies, and you didn't get too many enemy rooms. And I also liked the fact that the game wasn't buggy as shit. I mean, for me, as far as Sonic games go, that was...
No. Have you ever played any of the special stages?
Okay, the special stages were buggy as shit. But I didn't play many of those.
I don't think I've ever finished a special stage in that game.
Have you
but I'm talking about the main game anyway. But yeah, you're correct.
The main game, we'll say the main game has a good flow to it for the most part until you get to Bingo Highway. Bingo Highway is the absolute worst level in the entire game.
Yeah, but I'm talking about glitches here, like falling through the floor glitches.
Oh, that
From
happens
Sonic
many
Adventure.
times.
Yeah, but you can't say that about a lot. I mean, I could say that technically Sonic 06 doesn't suffer falling through floor glitches.
I fell through the floor lots of times in Sonic 06.
I didn't run into that problem in Sonic Adventure. I don't think you can use that as a legitimate defense point. It didn't break. Oh my god. Let's all celebrate.
Well, for me, I'm talking about when I really liked the game back in 2004.
Because it didn't break?
Yes, because it didn't break, because it wasn't glitchy.
Oh my goodness gracious. Good. Oh joy. My game actually functions. I'm so happy.
Okay, GX is getting very impassionate, so I think we'll move on to him now.
Okay. So I was initially gonna go with Sonic Heroes because I do have a soft point in my heart for Sonic Heroes.
I want to like it so much, but it's there's
okay,
just
yeah,
parts
we're moving away from Sonic.
Okay, I know.
Lest we have Knuckles talk about how he liked half of the stages for a third time. I'm going to go with, I guess, first, the Master System version of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, the Game Gear version, whichever version you want to reference. I have a weird reverence for the old Game Gear Master System versions of those games, just because I found it interesting that they were trying to emulate what the consoles could do, even though they very clearly could not.
No.
And some of the other ones just tried a little bit too hard. And sometimes they tapped into something neat, like whenever you get to do this Sea Fox or the Rocket Shoes in some of the later ones. But for some reason, I have an appreciation for just the super simplistic level design of the first Sonic Game Gear Master System game. And it almost takes the graphics down to a near Mario level. I'm not sure if you guys would even come close to agree with that, but to me it feels more cartoony. It feels more simple and it feels a little bit more playful. And for some reason I really love the bridge level. But I'm also going to go with Sonic Chronicles,
Just to mention on Sonic 1 Master System, it's still better than the Sonic 2 version they came out with, which was physically impossible to finish.
Is it literally physically impossible to finish?
It's not physically impossible, it just feels like that. I mean, it's super, super hard. It's like a Mega Man 1 of Game Gear Sonic games.
But, yeah, well, also, getting emeralds in any of those games suck. It just does. But Sonic Chronicles, another portable one that I like. It is a game that is very clearly rough around the edges if you pay attention to the sound effects or the gameplay or the balancing or basically any part of it. But to me, what I found so interesting about it was that it almost felt like the professional fan game. Because if you they do the craziest job trying to canonize things. Have you guys gone into they have like documents that basically goes back, this happened in Sonic Adventure, this happened in Sonic Adventure 2, this is what happened in Sonic Battle. The existence of that game is important to the existence of this game. And you know, I don't go big on canon, but I can appreciate that they wanted to make it that they almost wanted to bring in the idea of Archie has existed for so long. And heck, they called robots in that game SWAT bots.
Yep.
Had SWAT, and they weren't that far off from the design. They were distinct enough, but they weren't that far off. And I mean, I'm a sucker for Elite Beat Agents. I love that kind of stuff. Once you got into the groove of what that game offered, I thought it was pretty neat. And it's just, it kind of feels sad that it got released in this from a design standpoint, unfinished state. But
especially the music.
Especially the music, which is it true? I don't know if there was always the rumor that went around. Did they basically just get MIDIs off the internet and cram them in?
I don't know. I don't think you can get MIDIs that bad. It sounded like something that they're trying to do music off of an Atari 2600 and threw it into the game.
It was bizarre. I mean, I think the song I liked most from that game was not even in the game. Like, it was just a trailer or something. But or the intro music, I forget which. But more or less, it's kind of sad, because if there was, you could tell there was a passion there, that they wanted to do something with it, that they wanted to make the Sonic RPG. But either because of money or lack of experience with the DS hardware or whatever went on with BioWare, it didn't achieve that. It felt like, hey, if we push this back another year, if we could inject a bit more money into it, we could make something really cool. But I have a feeling that Sega probably knew that it wasn't going to make its money back. And it is just such the oddity, because it is a BioWare-developed Sonic RPG. That alone,
and their first handheld RPG, too.
Handheld RPG, absolutely. I think it's worth playing, is all I'm going to leave you with.
I could definitely see what you're talking about, where it feels incomplete, not only because the music, but the game is an absolute cakewalk to finish. There's no real challenge there, I feel.
Once you know combinations to use, because, I mean, there's a point where you discover, oh, well, my team should be Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, and Shade. And there is no other combination that I should ever have at any other point in the game, because everyone else in the game is going to be armor, so I need every single armor-piercing combo.
I will say I did kind of like some of the dialogue, and the writing in the game was alright. I mean, I could see where some characters were, how they related to others is pretty cool.
It's a different experience that involves. That's one I would do.
The one thing I liked was like how Tails was kind of almost happy to have Eggman on the team, because I think Tails got kind of like almost wants to see a kinship with somebody with the same intellect as him, even though Eggman is obviously very evil. But the one thing that we didn't mention is that Ken Penders is actually suing EA and BioWare over this game, because of course we have the Twilight. What is it? The Twilight Zone, Twilight Cage.
Yeah, they call it the Twilight Cage.
Yeah, I mean, we got this whole hidden Echidna City. We got a character by Shade who's very much like a Julie Sue, and he even says that some people in BioWare talked to him in reference for the game or something along that line.
And so, why did it take him so long to sue over it? I wonder.
Well, first off, it's going to be EA and BioWare. There's no freaking chance in heck he has against that.
Yeah.
Archie, I don't know how deep their pockets are, but I'm sure that they are in more of a position to compromise. If you're going after EA and BioWare and you don't have a solid case, and trust me, I don't think he has a solid case to begin with, but that's not a situation you really want to put yourself in, I would say, unless you are big enough to handle it or have enough of it in your favor. Otherwise, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they looked at first to the Sonic comics, because you can tell by the tone that they set with that game, it's very much in line with kind of what the comics do. It's like I said, it's an oddity, and for that reason alone, play it. Just find a copy. It's cheap, I bet, and it won't take you too long. It's going to be a little weird. You're eventually just going to find this stuff, but get it and play it because it's a neat experience to at least have under your belt. If you're a Sonic
love how
fan.
ironic it is that they tried to make it as canon as possible, and then Sega decided, you know what, it's its own canon. Shade doesn't exist, I guess, in the regular Sega Sonic universe or what have you. They kind of just separated it from it.
It's To me, that's what it all comes down to, is the fact that, hey, people apparently did not want this, so we're just not going to bother with it. I mean, that's what they eventually did with Sonic 06. Sonic 06 eventually wrote itself out of the story after it, and it was so
Thank
critically
God.
panned.
Yeah, because that was a horrible story.
But let's ignore the idea that there is actually canon in Sonic for a second, and take us to another place in another time, Shigs.
Okay, how about the futuristic city of Sonic Riders, or in this case, I've saved the worst for last, Sonic Free Riders on the Xbox Kinect. Most people, especially Angry Joe, who returned this game because he said it was broken, absolutely hated this game. They just it's not a game that is intuitive. It's not a game where you could just jump in and start playing and having a fun time. It's kind of actually like being on a real skateboard or on a real surfboard for the first time. You are not going to be able to get the handle of it at first. But I stuck with it. I mean, and I really tried it out. I had to learn a few tricks as far as leaning to the left where the game's biggest flaw is. Being able to turn left, you actually had to stick your hands back a little bit. But once I got to doing that, it had this really nice like arcade feel to it, which the other two riders didn't really have. It's pretty simple, pretty fun once you get used to it. I did get up to finishing pretty much all of story mode and unlocking Silver and Blaze. I can understand where you're coming from as far as not being a very good game, because like I said, the controls are just incredibly hard to get used to, and it's just like if you were riding on an actual surfboard or futuristic hoverboard in this case. It just takes a while. My biggest problem with it is some of the characters themselves and the storyline that happens in the cutscenes.
For the controls, at some point you can accept the blame on Sega. At some point, though, you kind of have to look at the Kinect and say, yeah, it still kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad at least they could give you this little, what do they call that when you're initializing in a game, when you, like in Rock Band, we have to calibration. Yeah, every level starts with a calibration so you can get used to it, and that's another way of helping learning the controls as far as that game goes. But I mean, once I got used to it, I didn't actually have too much of a problem. I was able to get A's and S ranks on jumping up on ramps and doing little tricks. I mean, it was a great game to exercise by. I was sweating to death by the end of it. Probably lost 5 pounds just playing it. But I actually enjoyed the graphics, and I enjoyed the music quite a bit. Compared to the other riders, I think this had the best music. Particularly, there's like 2 or 3 tracks by a certain composer that I liked more than regular riders' kind of music that it goes by. Of course, it has GX's favorite characters, the Babylon Rogues. And they did really care for it. But
it is noteworthy, though. This was the first game that actually had the extended cast in their new voices. Yep, I was about
to bring that up. That's one of the things that made it special about it, is that pretty much all the characters, except for Big the Cat, and I think Espio and Charmy weren't in it too, are in the game. And all of their voices are in. So you get to see all the brand new voices for the first time and hear Amy's horrible Minnie Mouse impression, which I can't stand. They really need to bring back Lisa Ortiz. I thought she was a much, much better Amy, much more expressive. The worst part of the game is the story, and writing itself is pretty awful. I mean, Shadow, instead of being this, dark, moody guy, is literally Rouge's sidekick who just mirrors whatever she does. They're actually trying to steal the trophy.
You know what? I can accept that. I can accept that. I am fine with that, because in all honesty, at this point, Rouge is a more interesting character than Shadow.
Oh my god! I mean, yeah, they basically instead of the anti-hero, they basically made him a villain for this. I mean, I don't see how I could see Shadow wanting to actually steal a trophy just for the heck of it.
It's the future. Its government has collapsed. We are now in a surfboard-based economy.
And instead of being about some epic learning about your past through treasure hunting or whatever like the other two riders, this is just a competition that Eggman put together with him as some king of some sort for the race, and he's just gathering all the data from all the riders to build an ultimate robot or something like that. And it's all like that it has a simple story there, but like some of the character motivations are really out of place. I mean, they bring back Vector as part of Team Rose now instead of Big, which it's just kind of funny because it's such an odd choice. But now he's instead of being this detective guy, he's just so broke that he's actually doing the race to pay off like debts to Big Louie and Little Louie.
You know what? You say that's a bad motivation, but of anyone there, I can see that as a legit motivation for him.
Yeah, I could kind of see him being that broke because stories like in that Ian does in Sonic X, the Chaotix is not a successful detective agency. I like having like a sympathetic character like Vector always being broke, but at the same time, I don't see him having like these gambling debts or whatever he's got, or maybe they're just debts in general. I'm looking way too into that.
Yes, you are.
Anyway, but yeah, some of the other character motivations are pretty poor. The writing and the dialogue, while not quite Sonic Heroes awful, is still pretty weak. Like I said, I know.
Can I just assume that Jet's basically Jet's motivation for the whole thing is because he is the world's biggest jerk that wants to one-up Sonic?
Yeah, that's his only motivation. That's the one thing I like about Jet is he's an actual rival who's a rival. He just wants to be the absolute best, like no one ever was.
Oh, don't you start. That is the most hackneyed joke that you could possibly go to.
Anyway.
What are you talking about? He has lots of other hackneyed jokes you can go to.
But anyway,
that is among the worst.
His motivations are so much.
You clearly haven't heard some of his
much simpler than Shadows or Knuckles. Motivations for being Sonic rival. He's just a plain old rival. He doesn't have any, what can I say, evil plots or anything really.
Class, writing, dialogue.
Just a goofy little cartoon character. Anyway, that's about it for me on that one.
I like things and also stuff, and I like good Sonic games.
If I was to pick a Sonic game that was critically panned, I absolutely loved, though, it'd be Sonic Unleashed. But I know there's quite a few in the fan base that absolutely love that game, too. Even though the Werehog levels go on for way too long, and the metal hunting is absolutely horrible. Everything else, I really enjoy about it. In fact, that game...
It did not deserve a 4.
No, that game I actually enjoy more than the adventure games.
Unleashed is the point where people outside of the fandom started to basically say, yeah, we don't like Sonic anymore. And to me, it seems like they don't like the reviews.
I don't think they like the premise of the Werehog.
Another conversation.
Yeah, this is the conversation for another time, really. Done. And that's going to be it for us. We're going to wrap this up. It's probably our shortest show yet. Thanks for listening. You can catch GX's Horsepower at is it horsepower.emeraldcoastcomics.net?
Okay. Here, I can do this better because I love to plug myself. So, first,
I don't want to save anything right there.
You do not go straight to ponies. That is not where you go first, Shiggs. You have to learn.
When GX thinks about himself, he plugs himself.
First off, the spindash.com is your audio source for everything Blue Rapid and Spiky. It is a Sonic podcast. In the next upcoming episode, we will be talking about the Sonic LeBron movie. And I compare it to another famous video game movie that it captures the spirit of. Otherwise, go ahead over to horsepower.emeraldcoastcomics.net or just go to the Spin Dash and I'll link you straight there to read all my awesome comics about My Little Pony. We've got the artist Jet, who also does Sonic Eggs for Shiggs. Love it all.
We're way behind
also,
now.
Also, both things, Horsepower and Spin Dash, are on Facebook. Like us because apparently likes release endorphins in my brain. I crave them. I crave them like the Rainbow Twizzlers currently on my desk.
All right, and you can catch me.
That is how you plug.
All right.
Now plug yourself, good
All
sir.
right, you can catch me and Knuckles87 both here at Segabits.com and on the Sonic Stadium. If you're more interested in the Chaotix Quest, I just did a review up on sonicstadium.org. You can check that out.
Read it, people!
And, of course, you can check out our reviews and previews right here on Segabits as well.
You're already here. They're, like, on the site right there.
Hey, what are you, lazy?
Just do them and read them. They're good content, I assume. I don't know. I only go to IGN for all my reviews.
Okay, anything else, Alex?
No, we're good.
Got no response from anyone. You people sicken me.
All right, and that's going to be it for this episode. See you next time.